Welcome back to the Niagara training video. We're going to take a LoRaWAN sensor, this one here, and we're going to get that information and we're going to put that information onto our cloud server or any Jace controller. And I'm going to show you how to do that without using any third-party software. So this is an AM103. I'll show you some details of that. And we're going to be using a Multitech router to bring this information from this LoRaWAN device straight to our Niagara Tridium supervisor or controller via BACnet over IP. So let's start. So this is already a Tridium controller that's got, well, it's a supervisor and it's got other sensors already being brought into it via the same Multitech router. And we're going to show you the Multitech router, the type that we are using, and go from there. So let me just put you on pause while I load up a web page. So this is the AM103 sensor that I've just shown you. I don't need any of that. And this is on their website, milesight.com. You can purchase it from various places. Inon is where I purchased mine from, but they can go where you can purchase them anywhere on the internet. And this is what the sensor that we're being using. Someone contacted me. They've put lots of these sensors around this building and they wanted the information to be brought straight back to the Tridium Niagara controller, and this is how I'm going to show you how to do this using this sensor. Now BMS parts, and we go to the online shop. I'll show you the Multitech. So go to LoRa, and there's two types. There's this one that's got the built-in SIM card, or you put a SIM card in there, and there's this type that doesn't have the built-in SIM card. It just has the Ethernet connection and the power. Now you will just connect, if you're using this type, you just connect the Ethernet cable from here directly into your Tridium controller or switch, and of course you give it an IP address. And if I go back to the other version, this doesn't you've got this connection here, this IP connection again here, but you've got the SIM card here. And what I'm doing with mine currently is I'm sending that up to the cloud server supervisor and then taking the information. So this is on in my office currently, mounted on the wall, and I've got various sensors around the office area, one being on my desk as you've just seen, and that information is going into here and then it's sending it straight up to my cloud supervisor, and then of course I'm trending the information on that cloud supervisor and using the data for reporting or even to speed up fans. So say the CO2 level is quite high, then you can speed up your fans and get rid of the CO2 that's in the air. Right, so let's go back to the unit. So I want to go into my unit here, my Multitech, which is 192.168.0.103, but it's not 448, it's 8062 I think, or is it 72? Might be 72. 8072. Maybe not. 80. It's not 81. Let me just find where it is. It's actually 8073, but what I forgot to do is put the S there. I'll sign into my router, my LoRaWAN router. This is the cellular stuff, and of course the LAN. So there's my IP address for my LAN, 192.168.0.103, and you can see if I go into my setup, network interfaces, static, there's the 103, that's the mask, that's my gateway, and I think it is in administration, access configuration, remote management. No, access configuration, I think. Yeah, there. I've used the port 8073. You would normally use 443. And also in my BACnet, which should be different to yours, if I go into my BACnet configuration, I'm using that 8072 as my port. You would use BACO, hex BACO for your port. That's would be the only two differences. Naturally, you can put your device object as what you want, your name, and device description. Now, if we look at the managed sensors in here, at the moment, I have got an ERS, an AM300DA. That's actually not connected. So it's a pulse, like a gas pulse. So you can take your gas pulses, take them via LoRa back to your gateway, and then take it to your station or the cloud. Temperature sensor, PT100 temperature sensor, and an AM102, so it's exactly the same as an AM103, apart from this one doesn't have CO2, the 103 has CO2, and that's the one that we're going to add. So, to look at the LoRa side of it, and devices, you can see that I've got these devices at the moment. This one, like I said, I don't have the EM300 here, it went to a site, so I don't have that one of them here, but you can see that the EM500, the ERS and the AM102 are communicating, and they're at different places around the office. I don't have anything to device group, so there's my packets. So these are my packets, and it's received an unknown packet there. Doesn't know what that packet is. And it's got an unknown device here as well, but these ones are the ones that it's receiving and taking information from. Right, let's set up this. So I'm going to go to key management, and I want to add a new device. Now I've done a notepad here with my device settings, save me from looking for it. So that's my EUI. My app EUI is normally the same on all Milesight devices. So I'll take that. And my app key is the same on all Milesight devices unless you decide to change it. I haven't, I've left it at default. It's a Class A, 686, go OK. So that's the device added in there at this moment. So now I need to go to devices. Oops. Do you want to save? Yes, I do want to save before I navigate away. Save and apply. Come on. Doesn't normally take this long. Thank you. So packets. Those are my packets. I'm just waiting for this device to poll. I may just force it, switch it on and switch it off to poll. Let me just put you on pause. Well, I can do it while you... Let's just switch this off, if it will go off. Just pressing the button in at the back to turn it off. That's it, screen's gone off. Put it back on again. It's just coming on at the moment now. Yes, that's now on. And it's got a sad face because of the 1740 CO2. Right. See whether that's brought it in. Key management's there. We know about that. Here we go. There it is. A moment ago. And that's 7545 is my end of my EUI. So let's just edit that and change that to AM103 room sensor. So it's picked it up. So we've got the AM103 room sensor now. In fact, I've done underscores there. Let's just put underscores underneath that one as well, just to match it, so we don't have any spaces. Not that it makes any difference. Not here anyway. So we've got the sensor a few moments ago. So now what we've got to do now is we've got to change this information from this sensor into BACnet. Now we need a couple of files to do this, and I'm going to just put you on pause and type in these files. Right, so I've typed in AM103 decoder JS. I've got this GitHub here, Milesight. So we click there, the AM series, AM103, and this decoder JS is what we want. So I can download it here, download the raw file. So that's now downloaded. So that's part of it. Well, the other bit you write yourself, but that's the main bit that we want. Now I need to show you an example of what I've wrote, don't I? So let me put you on pause again. Right, these are the files I've wrote. So that's the one for the 103. So we've downloaded the decoder, AM103 decoder JS, and this is the AM103 JSON which I wrote. Easy to write, really is easy to write. So you make sure you just put your description in there. You can put whatever you want in there. The decoder must be the exact name of the decoder file at the bottom there. And as you can see, AM103 decoder JS, because that's what it looks at to decode. So the battery, I've asked for the battery. Now how I knew it was called battery, temperature, humidity and CO2 is if we look at the decoder file. So here's your decoder file that was provided for us. And you can see decode temperature. See that lowercase temperature? That's what I am using, that lowercase temperature there. That lowercase humidity there. That lowercase CO2 there. And that's basically it. But we don't need this history. I personally don't use it. So I could get rid of all that lot and not use it for my decoding if we needed to. Now if I do get rid of that, I've got to get rid of that comma as well. Comma means it's another line after it, where if we don't, so let's delete that anyway, and let's just get rid of that comma. So this is my battery, my temperature, my humidity, my CO2. You don't need to put these units in. You can do this in your Tridium. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to take out that comma and them units there. Don't need it. Make it simple as anything. Simple. Take out that. Take out the parts per million. And take out that comma. So we've got a description. You can put in there whatever you want to. It doesn't have to be just any wording you want. This is the bit that matters. From the properties, and then the open bracket. Battery, float, temperature 16, humidity, float, CO2 16, and this is very important. What decoder file we're going to take the information from. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'll just save that as PMK at the end. Save. So that's my JSON file. Now you've got to make this yourself, whether you like it or not. You've got to do that yourself. If we look at some more JSON files, I can close that and look at the AM300. You see I've got no units at the end. I've just basically said what I'm using it for: humidity, pulse, battery temperature, decode. So that's a nice and simple one. Let's have a look at the 500. Battery, temperature, temperature alarm. Don't really need the temperature alarm if you don't want it, but it comes with a temperature alarm that you can set on the unit. Now you use NFC on your phone to basically program the unit if you need to. These are out of the box, so I don't bother programming any of the units. So I haven't put a temperature. I don't know what the temperature alarm is, and I've never bothered with it. But you could find that out yourself. And then the AM102, battery temperature, humidity. Again, the history is really not needed because you're going to trend the history yourself in the Tridium controller, so I wouldn't even bother with the history. So that gives you a bit of an idea there. We can close that down, and that's, we've been on that site, so we've got the information. But you've got so many different units that you can get. CT series, what's in the CT series? Oh yeah, you can get a CT to put onto your single phase or 3-phase, and you can bring in via LoRa the amps that's being drawn on them. EM series, I've got EM300, EM400, EM500. The EM500 is what I'm using there, the PT100 sensor. EM300, that is the AM300DI that I'm using for the pulse meter. And I think it, does it show you the picture of it or not? Probably not. Anyway, oh there it is. There's a pulse unit, Milesight pulse unit, there's a picture. So you can just take a pulse, gas pulse or whatever, and send that back, and you can count. You've got a built-in counter there that will count it all up for you, as well as a lot of technical information here. And that's giving you a little bit of an example of the JSON, but we must always say to you to decode. We always got to add the decoder of what we're looking at. So that's that. Right, so let's go back to where he was. Not there. And I've got to sign in again. Come on, log in. And then we've got to use that decoder file to create the BACnet points, or to be able to create the BACnet points. So they give you, with the Multitech decoder files, I'm just trying to think where it is. It's not there. It is manage sensors, sensor definitions. Here we go. So these are your sensor definitions. So these ones here are what I've added. See the the little green person there, that's what I've added. So we're going to delete this one because we're going to re-add this one in. So I can't delete it. I'll overwrite it anyway with what I'm using. And these are different sensors, and they've got lots of them. They're the radio bridge, loads of different sensors that you can use, but we're adding our own sensor in. So we go to import, manufacture, Milesight. You can put, again, you can put what you want. I'm going to go allow override here because I've already got a Milesight and an AM103 sensor type. So the sensor definition file, so that's my JSON file, which is none of them. Let's download, I will find them. Where are you? Here we go. Let's just cancel that a minute because I need to extract it. Let me put you on. Okay, so the sensor definition file, the JSON file, which was this one that we wrote, and the decoder file, the one that we downloaded, and import. Nice green box there, so I'm happy with that. And that is my AM103 PMK temperature humidity. See, it's saying PMK. We put that in the description. Let's see if we can find that for you. That one there, and that was it there. See the PMK we put in there, temperature, humidity, CO2. It's showing it there. Battery, float, no units. CO2 float, no units. Humidity float, no units. Temperature float, no units. And again, if we open up the AM103, float, battery, temperature, humidity, CO2. And let me open up the other decoder before that. If I can, oops, I don't want to open up the. So I'm looking on the extra on my other screen here. For some unknown reason, I can't find it now. And it's going to be in there, and it's going to be Milesight definitions files. Here we go. AM103 JSON. Float, and the 102 JSON floats, and the EM500 JSON file. Right, so let's now we've put that in there, we're going to set up the BACnet definitions. BACnet objects. So these are my identifiers that I've got there. So 16 is the last one that I've used, I think. So we'll start with 17. So add an object. Going to select the device EUI for that unit, which I can't remember what it was at the end. So let's go back to LoRa devices, and it's 7545. I think I need to manage the sensors first because it's not there, is it? So add a sensor. Let me go back to my devices. Let me just highlight that device there, Control key C. We've done that, manage sensors, and we need to add a sensor, and it's an AM103 Milesight. Finish. So that's me adding the AM103 sensor into there. Now we can go back to BACnet objects and add an object. What did I say I was going to start from? 17. Select the object, battery float, value 17, and AM103 underscore battery. Control key C, control key V. I'm not going to press this submit because I'm going to add in some more. So that was 17. CO2, analog value 18, CO2, I'm going to add another one, humidity 19, humidity, and add one more, temperature value 20, temperature, control key C, control key V, submit. So I haven't clicked on save and apply yet. The reason I haven't clicked on save and apply is we're going to see when I go to the server and we discover the points, you can see that we haven't got any AM300s, AM301s. We can't discover. If I click on discover again, there isn't any. So as expected. So now if I go to save and apply, okay. So what we've done now is we've took the AM103, we've added the decoder JS, we've wrote our own JSON, and then we've mapped the BACnet points to different values. And you can see that here, like 20, 103. Now if I go and have a look at the server and do a discovery, there's these points that's popped in now. EM103. See the 20 that we did for the temperature, and the 19 we did for the humidity, 18 for the CO2 and battery. Bring them across there. And then we haven't got any data coming in at the moment. Not to worry about that. Let's sort the battery out for the facets. That just wants to be a percent with 0. CO2, RH, ppm. Parts per million. Humidity is RH. Humidity is RH. And temperature is Celsius. And then what I'm going to do on that is I'm going to add some histories to there. History, extensions, numeric change, okay. Because I'm on a supervisor, a server, I'm going to change the count to unlimited. And then I'm just going to copy that, paste it into there, paste it into there, and paste it into there. And then I've got to set my histories. I've got to enable my histories. You can do it all in one go, but I'll just do it individually. Come on. Enable. And this one. Enable. Humidity one. Enable the history for that. And enable the history for that. Right. And we haven't got values through yet because it's probably not polled. So let's go back to our unit and devices. 8 minutes ago. So it should be due to poll soon. So I'm going to put you on pause until this pauses. There's no point in waiting. Right, I was playing with something else and I saw the data come in there then now. And if I refresh that, that won't say 8 minutes. A few minutes ago. And then the data that came in is now here. Now let's get this sensor and let's put it near the screen. So 1481 is now 1493. 41%, it's 41.5 there. 22 temperatures, right, 22. Battery, well that doesn't tell you the battery on there, but that is all working. What I was doing is I was going to just bring you through this here just to show you some of the devices. This is a monitor of movement. It also has temperature built into it and humidity. This is the AM103, 102 sorry, which doesn't have the CO2. That's the AM103 that has just been playing with, that's got the CO2. But this one, that's got the lux. It's also got built-in movement. In fact, let me just show you its. I minimize that down. It's this one here: the humidity, the light, the motion, the temperature, and of course that's what the battery voltage is. And then the AM102 is this particular one here that I was showing you. Batteries at 91% there. And then the 103, which we've just added here, the battery is 99%. Batteries will last a long time. I would estimate a couple of years at least. That's reading now 1558, and if you look at this, that's showing 1558, so it's just polled again, and it's 53.4 humidity now, and that's saying 41, but no doubt it will change later. Alright, if you've got any questions, feel free to add them in the bottom of the comments section. I'll try and help you. If you've got unsure about the JSON, I can help you with that as well. I can easily write you some JSON, but it's easy enough to write. Once you've done a few, then the rest is simple. You just need to look at that decoder.js file and make sure you're using the right wording that's in that decoder.js file. And I think that is it. So that's basically taking a Milesight AM103 sensor, bringing it into the LoRaWAN, taking it from your LoRaWAN via Ethernet if you want to straight into your Tridium via BACnet over IP, or if you're using a Multitech with a SIM card in there, you can take it straight to your cloud server without using any third-party facilities to decode it. So because you're writing the decoding bit already inside the Multitech, and this Multitech is unlimited, so you can have as many BACnet points as you want in there. You're only going to be charged with your proxy points naturally on your supervisor or your Jace bringing in the BACnet point, but you won't be charged any extra for changing them points in your Multitech, and you can have as many BACnet points as you want in that Multitech. And so you could have 100 units, 200 units around the place, all coming back into the Multitech via the LoRaWAN, and then you can display it immediately on your controller. So thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.